So I came across this video on TikTok. That's always a great way to start a sentence, in which this woman decided that she wanted to punish her daughter so badly that she recorded herself cutting off each of her daughter's braids individually. I was disgusted, to say the least. I've been going back and forth on if I even wanted to show the video at all, but I feel as though it's necessary in order for you to see exactly why I felt so obligated to make this video. So I'm gonna put a bit of a trigger warning here if you do not feel comfortable seeing a child be publicly humiliated, because it is disturbing. You can skip to this timestamp.
Y'all, this just pissed me off. Hold on.
It's more important to be pretty than educated. More important to be a follow body than a leader, right? Okay. I'm not a parent who likes to use physical discipline. Come here, you're gonna learn today, girl. No physical discipline. Mom, don't mom me, no. You had your warning, you had your chance. I told you to listen. I told you stop disobeying my rules. I told you being cute ain't shit if you have no education. I told you stop disobeying me. I told you to listen and do as you're supposed to. I told you to do good in school. I told you to do your daily routine, and you yet to even do any of it. And you thought you were disobeying me today and I was not coming to cut this hair off. You're sadly mistaken because you thought being pretty was so much better than being educated or listening to your mom, right? Yes, this is what happens when you don't listen to your mom. No. Do you feel like I abused you? No. Do you feel like this form of discipline was a lot better than any other form of discipline, like physical abuse that I could have used? Yes. You know I love you, right?
Yes.
You know I got your back, right?
That's abuse.
You know what I'm doing right now is to make you a better person, right?
Yes.
How many times have I spoken to you about this?
That is mental abuse.
How many times have your teachers called me?
Oh my God.
Multiple times. How many times have you not handed in homework? A few times. How many times have you not listened? How many times have I told you when you're grounded not to do certain things and you're still doing them? A lot of times. Right. A lot of times, right? And I've been speaking to you about this for how long? A year. So today when I did what I did by cutting off your hair, you understand why I did it, right? Yeah. And you're learning from it, right? Yeah. And what did you learn? I learned not to disrespect you and to listen to you. And also? And to do my homework. Because school comes first, right? Yeah. And if you have no education, then you have nothing, right? Yeah. So if you're not listening in class and you're not behaving and you're not listening to your teachers and you're not handing in your schoolwork, do you deserve to have extensions in your hair? No. Do you deserve to have the latest styles in your hair? No. Do you deserve to have nails in your hair? No. Your hair will grow back, right? Yeah. You can wear wigs, right? Yeah. I can add extensions back, right? Yeah. So you know what I did. I did out of love, right? Yeah. And the only reason why I posted was because of what? You think that these Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok and Roblox is your life.
You posted because you...
I didn't embarrass you. You embarrassed yourself, right? Yeah. Teach my child a lesson. We try to be better than our parents, and I try really hard to be the best mother that I can be. And for the most part, I know I'm doing a fantastic job. We try to be better than our parents and learn different ways and try to do better, like, for instance.
It's one thing to discipline your children. It's one thing to be a strict parent with strict, annoying rules. It's another to publicly shame your children in hopes that it will completely change their behavior. And I've seen videos like this far too many times. As someone who has absolutely no desire to ever be a parent, because why would I want to do that to myself? You would think that I wouldn't really care about something like this, especially enough to make a whole video about it. However, these children are going to grow up and be adults one day. Adults in which I will cohabitate with, in which we will all cohabitate with eventually. And the effects that shit like this has on a child's mental health are detrimental. This is precisely why I so often say that not everyone is meant to be a parent. Not everyone deserves to be a parent. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people have kids just for the aesthetic, for the cute Instagram photos, for the gender reveals and the baby showers, for the exploitative but very lucrative family channels. A lot of people have kids simply because they feel that they have to, because they have no other choice. They may have nothing else really going for them. So why not bring an innocent child into your world and attempt to mold them into exactly who you want them to be? That's actually a terrible motivation to have children. Please don't do that. In my research for this video, I wanted to find out exactly what kinds of psychological impacts these kinds of punishments actually have on kids, in hopes that maybe, just maybe, I can stop one parent from going down this disturbing path. I stumbled across an article entitled "The Dark Side of Public Shaming Parenting" from Valentine and Blackstock Psychology, which is a clinic in Toronto that provides psychoeducational services for children and adults. In it, they state the following: parents turn to public shaming as a form of last resort. When all other attempts to discipline or change the behavior of their children have been unsuccessful, they turn to the child's online social world as a form of hitting them where it hurts. Since teenagers are so tied to their online social networks, parents may believe that publicly embarrassing their child through those networks will put an end to the undesirable behavior. When a child is punished or shamed by their parent, it can inadvertently attack the child's personality and not the behavior the parent is attempting to reprimand. Instead of making the child understand that what they've done is wrong, shaming can actually make them feel like there's something wrong with who they are. In fact, shame is the worst consequence of emotional abuse, especially when it comes from a parent. The teenage brain undergoes an immense amount of change during this time in an attempt to prune its neurons to create more efficient pathways and connections in the frontal lobes. Brain structures in the frontal lobes are associated with executive functions, planning, organization, emotional regulation, etc. Not only do developmental changes in communication with these structures help explain many of the seemingly irrational and impulsive behaviors demonstrated by teenagers, but they can also create a sort of handicap in terms of rational decision-making. Not only does shaming not work, it can make the problem worse. Our experience as child psychologists has taught us that bad behavior in teenagers can sometimes stem from deeper psychological issues. For example, oppositional defiant disorder, ODD, substance abuse, or underlying depression can manifest behaviorally in different ways, such as through aggression, agitation, and behavioral conduct issues. Public shaming could therefore fuel the underlying psychological problems the child may already be suffering from and push them into even worse behavior. Your child's teenage years are a difficult time for both you and your child. It's important to remember that no matter how independent your child appears or how troubled their behavior has become, all children need to feel loved and accepted. Try to help your child through positive interactions and constant support, and avoid humiliation parenting techniques to attempt to change their behavior. Not only can public shaming aggravate the situation, but it will destroy the trust alliance between you and your child. There was also an article from moms.com entitled "Child Shaming on Social Media Should Never Be Done," in which Ashley Worley states, Charles Hellwig, a professor of developmental psychology, stated that this is a means of psychological control as parents try to improve behavior, and it can have profound impacts on the rates of depression and anxiety in children. Child shaming is telling a child that something is wrong with them and that they are somehow deserving of pain and embarrassment. Not only is this damaging to a child, but they are effects that can carry on into adulthood and affect their self-esteem as well as their relationships with others. Children rely on their parents for safety and security. They want to be able to go to them if they need help. Publicly shaming them is going to ruin that relationship, and all that is left is a child who feels completely betrayed by the person they thought they could trust the most. At the very core, the child is not thinking about the behavior they committed and why it was wrong. All they can think about is how embarrassed and humiliated they are. Discipline is a way to address behavior and learn from it. It is about open communication and criticism and moving on in a healthy way. Punishment is dealing with the behavior with no thought to how to change what happened in the first place. When a parent shames their child, they are punishing them, and sadly, all a child is going to take in during this lesson was how mortified and humiliated they felt because of their parents. It is no longer about what they did. And remember, guys, this is the internet after all. That video of that girl getting her hair cut off as punishment by her mom is going to be online forever. In fact, someone may recognize her one day and walk up to her like, "Hey, aren't you that girl that got all her hair cut off by her mom on TikTok?" That's awful. And that video was the perfect example of god-awful parenting. If you genuinely believe that making your kid walk miles to school in the freezing cold, that cutting off your kid's hair, hell, even taking their bedroom door off the hinges, is actually going to improve their behavior, you've lost the fucking plot, mate. God, I'm so good at British accents. I'm literally the best. Let alone having the gall to post it to social media for further embarrassment in some sad, twisted attempt to teach them a lesson. I cannot stress to you enough how much that does not teach them a lesson at all. What it does teach them is that you're a garbage parent who has betrayed them and who they can no longer fully trust. If anything, that would make me want to keep more secrets from you. It's pretty clear that parents who think these methods are reasonable need therapy themselves, like immediately, because what the fuck did you go through in your life, perhaps in your own childhood, that made you turn out like this? Maybe we should unpack that a bit. In conclusion, just treat your children like the human beings that they actually are. Have patience, for Christ's sake. Like, that's probably one of the most important traits that you need to have as a parent is motherfucking patience. I feel like there are so many people out here that are the most impatient, short-tempered, apathetic, borderline psychotic fuckers on planet Earth, and yet still choose to have kids for some reason. Give these kids the support and encouragement that they deserve. Discipline them when necessary in a conducive way that may actually help them to learn their lesson. Remember that they are not mini versions of you. They are going to grow into their own version of themselves, one in which you may not fully understand at first, but that's where the patience comes in. And if you can afford it, therapy. Therapy, therapy, therapy. Therapy. Everyone should be getting it. But of course, not everyone has access to it because we live in a dystopian capitalistic hellscape that doesn't prioritize healthcare in general, let alone mental healthcare. But that's another video for another day. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like so the algorithm gods will have mercy on me. I've gotten quite a few new subscribers recently. Hi guys, thanks so much for signing up for the shit show. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already signed up for the shit show, what are you doing, loser? Go ahead and subscribe so I can sleep better at night knowing that this isn't all for nothing. And remember, if you film your kids on TikTok as a form of punishment, I'm gonna cut all your hair off in your sleep. Bye.